This is an Art Geek production, and I'm Schira. We're at the Freedman Gallery for the opening of Lance Winn Trace. We're going to go in and take a look at the show. This piece is called Tracing the Words, the American Flag. Warship. Everything I know about chaos and us, or U.S., inked on paper. Weather. W-H-E-T-H-E-R. Directions. Hi, we're talking with Lance Winn, and he's the artist. Hi, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Great. So what's the, let me bother you a little bit about your work here. Now this piece in particular is called On Mars. What is? I mean, this to me, it seems a lot like a computer maquettes and build-ups of layers and stuff. Is this mechanically assisted, or do you how do you manufacture something like that?
This one's handmade in this case, but it's based off of the Life on Mars, which is the smaller piece over here.
The lit one that's over on the other side.
Life on Mars was made by trying to trace that text on the finger pad of my computer.
Okay.
And what each layer is an Illustrator layer that's essentially a series of mistakes.
Oh, okay.
And then I sent those layers to a laser cutter and had them laser cut out of hot edge plexiglass. So
it's very impressive, actually.
It's a totally digital piece that looks very handy.
The maquette.
The one thing about the digital that interests me is that those Illustrator files can be any size. It's all math at that point, and so I had wanted to see that at one scale and another scale as part of this show, to see the two together. And so I was trying to find a way to have you view both at once and talk about this ability of Life on Mars is kind of about escapism.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah, and the way that we use it to when things are not going very well down here on Earth, the way we kind of use the idea of what's happening out there to escape what's going on down here, and also this idea then that somehow the digital has some idea of that same escape.
Futuristic, you know.
Yeah, and so one thing that interests me is the way our materials in our processes at this point can create something of this scale. This is all pink insulation, and it's the ability to get a facade of a landscape. So there's this constant disconnect between the screen and the hand. So I was trying, all of the works are pieces that try to reflect a way of making, that's built into them. They're very raw. They're raw pieces, and that's the language of a kind of way of making something that's supposed to be highly visible.
Fascinating work, really. And you use a lot of words in your work too. This piece is called Columbia, by the way. But you have this one here says emergency. Then you have you have directions on the other side. It seems that that the word has a lot to do with your personal. I mean, why is it that the word? Oh, I'm sorry. Why the word interacts with the work so much?
Well, in all of them, I use either language or other icons that that I try to misuse. I'm interested in the idea of tracing the shape of something to see if it leads to something new or some information. So rather than thinking of the word as like necessarily a meaningful entity, thinking of it as a series of forms that if you begin to follow those forms that could lead you to something that you wouldn't have known before. And so the text is usually for me just a starting place, just like the image. Most of the images are actually on the canvases, most of them are blank. They're actually the blank spot of canvas that becomes followed towards some other end. And so I'm interested in this idea of what begins to generate new forms. And so text is one way to think through a problem, and the icon's another way to kind of think through a problem so that you begin to make something new.
So you have some video work too as well. I haven't even been in the other room yet to see what that is. But you had a piece that's out in the hall, and it says robotic assisted. Is that because you had and notice that the camera movement was very smooth on that. Is that because it was automatically controlled, or
the piece that goes with the one that's in the show?
In this one here,
I work with a roboticist in Toronto, Simone Jones, who's an excellent artist in her own right, and we work together occasionally on projects. And in a certain way, they have a lot to do with the still pieces in here. That what we do is program essentially a double motor tripod to follow a path. And you'll see the different pieces, but we create narrative works to go along with this idea of this is a prison movie, and the projector ends up acting like a spotlight. But the basic premise is if we program a path in 3 dimensions that a camera takes, then and then replace the camera with the projector, it projects in real time in an exact sequence with the path that we captured. So it's a way of moving 3-dimensional space with a 2-dimensional image. So this piece actually runs along 3 walls plus the floor. And it follows the exact trajectory that it was captured in. And so what's exciting about that is there's a whole space there. It's consistent from one side to the other, but like a searchlight at night, you only get to see part of it at a time. And so a lot of those are intended to kind of deconstruct the nature of film. So instead we watch things move inside the still frame all the time, right? But these actually make the frame move with the image, and it's a very disconcerting kind of, and also kind of interesting way of moving the image into space. So they're very sculptural pieces.
That's great. Should we take a look at one? Should we take a look in there? Maybe I hope my camera will be able to capture it. Okay, well, thank you, Lance. Thank you very much for allowing me to take your time out there.
It's a pleasure talking with you.
And with you, sir.
Thanks.
Great stuff. Thank you.